I want to share this video that you shared with us about the path to single payer. This was being moderated by Dr. Jill Stein.
We're going to move ahead now because it's getting late and I want to be sure we get you out on time. So we have another panel of 4 people and then 2 questions to follow that, and then we'll do wrap-ups where each of our initial speakers will kind of give us your final thoughts, just a minute or 2 worth from each. So first, Michelle Mashburn from the Green Party of Santa Clara County. Thank you so much for being with us, Michelle.
I thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I have had invisible and visible disabilities for almost 30 years. I am an ambulatory wheelchair user with other complex medical needs based on social determinants of health. Even with access to care through Medicare and Medicaid, I struggle to find equitable and competent care that does not make me more disabled. We as disabled people have a difficult time accessing care, with many doctors' offices refusing to accommodate us. A 2021 study of 714 physicians showed that more than 80% reported that people with disabilities were presumed to have a worse quality of life, and 60% felt that they could not provide the same quality of care to disabled patients as they do to their non-disabled patients. In addition to the multiple layers of discrimination and bias in the existing healthcare systems, disabled people often must navigate complex services and other administrative hurdles like home and community-based services, DME equipment, and multiple providers. I want to share 2 situations I have experienced that reflect these findings. In 2021, a hospital discharge planner deemed me incapable of caring for my mother based on my wheelchair use alone. In 2023, the company assigned to fix my broken wheelchair that I rely on for much of my life activity refused because the insurance reimbursement would be too difficult and likely too little. Disabled people experience program gaps first and are often tasked with addressing those systemic gaps with limited resources. We're a creative bunch. Ableism in the United States is institutional and structural. We must take steps to unlearn this bias and build better solutions for everybody. I support a single payer system, and I caution everyone to look at who is represented in the strategic discussions and decisions for implementing such a system. Let's work to ensure that there is adequate representation, including disabled people who have experiences to talk to these gaps from their lived experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was beautifully said. I want to get your thoughts on, because a lot of people will look at me crazy when I say this, but I am of the opinion that I think a single payer healthcare system is really the floor. I think a full nationalization of our healthcare system is actually necessary. And Jaybe, what do you mean by full nationalization? Okay, so hear me out. It's not just a single payer. It's that hospitals, medical device manufacturers, pharmaceuticals, rehabilitation centers, gyms, anything and everything having to do with health is community owned and operated. And the expenses that it would cost to own and operate this are taken out through taxation. And so, for instance, medical device manufacturers may include walkers, wheelchairs, beds, right? Because some people need beds, things like this. So all these different things, basically an NHS style, or like I like to call it, a Cuban style healthcare system, which actually encompasses all of our healthcare needs, including going to the gym. I think that is what's absolutely necessary, because, like, for instance, my friend Michelle here, my comrade Michelle here, should not have to pay out of pocket for her wheelchair, but also she should not have to pay an inclusion of profit for a company in order for her to have a wheelchair. Because once you start to include profit in it, then that means it makes it less accessible for her to be able to have basically legs to get to where she needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
Single payer is the floor. It's definitely not as high as we can go. The Cuban healthcare system is amazing and remarkable, and it is propagandized against so much that even I've had my bias checked a couple of times most recently. You know, when they were bringing public health up in Castro's day, you know, one of the things that happened was they mandated no more commercials about cigarettes, no more smoking on screen, no more movies with smoking in it. And Castro complied for the health of the nation, for the health of his country. He still smoked in private. He loved his cigars, whatever. But for the health and well-being, this is like the public health prevention programs that we're supposed to have here in America, but inevitably our bodies are prioritized based on profit and not human needs.
Mm-hmm.
So-and-so can't take this med, or so-and-so can't take this med, and it's proven. But yet insurance companies will then mandate you trial that again. And then we're in an active stage of eugenics right now with the assisted suicide that's happening, you know, in so many places, where your poverty is weaponized against you, or your disability is weaponized against you. And it becomes this, you're less than. And then the doctors support that you are less than by agreeing, oh yeah, we can help you exit this world, or we can put a DNR on your chart. I follow a number of people on Twitter that talk about their experience in hospitals, you know, and these are people with complex medical needs that are ongoing. And they're like, Alice Wong is a solid example of this, where she is currently struggling to stay independent because to be put into a nursing home would literally shut her away and make her invisible again. And she's done an amazing job of bringing the voices of all disabled people forward. And that's what we have to fight against. But until we change this system from a profit-based system to a system that meets the needs of the people in an autonomous way of those needs of the people, you know, where I get to self-determine what I receive. I don't have to mandate to freaking care court that says you have to take your psych meds or you're going to be put away, you know? So these are the struggles that we have with the single payer system. The reason I support it at this point, it's going to take a lot longer unless we totally hijack the system and make things better to reach the point where we truly unlearn the profit over the need. And needs are needs. Wants are something else, but needs are needs. And sometimes a need is like a nuanced need that goes into want a little bit, but that want may be what allows me to work more. It maybe allows me to go visit my dog or to go to the ocean more and feed my soul. And that goes into the wellness part that you were talking about. I think that the US system is very codified in this patriarchal system that is about curing people and only about curing people, preventing and curing people, you know. So with that, we have a lot of problems with those realities, and we're a long ways away from anything.
Yeah. And just one more point that I wanted to kind of pin in before we bring our other next panel in. One of the things I wanted to, and I'm trying to make this as quickly as possible, but you know, unions, while they are beneficial in some ways, I think that because of the influence of corporations, I also think that coming in and trying to encourage more worker cooperatives so that workers own the means of production. If you have a worker that is disabled that also owns the means of production, you're going to make sure that their workplace is also beneficial for people who are also disabled as well. So I think the conversation needs to envelop to going beyond unions and going beyond that into the workers having actual ownership, democratic says within their workplaces, and also getting profits and sharing the profits among all workers within the workplace. Michelle, final thoughts?
Those are very much in line with mine. But yet we have a lot of work to do, because like organizations that are fighting for like proportional representation have yet to include disability. Organizations like RBN, you know, for for solid reasons, struggle to make the experience of your streams fully accessible because it costs too much money. We're still at that point of gap that everybody experiences. So with all of this, it's going to take collectivism. It's going to take us connecting with other people. Community control is key. Stop defunding education. Stop defunding, teaching. Stop defunding, our education system, our healthcare system, all of these different things. Fucking take the money away from the freaking wars and the police and bring it into the community, because the community having that control will ensure that we don't have the crime rate that everybody wants to complain about because people are struggling. We won't have to fucking lock formula up in pharmacies because people are stealing it because of need. We won't have to keep toothbrushes locked up. I mean, my local pharmacy locks up the toothbrushes too because the unhoused come in and take one, and they need one because they're also being swept and other things. So all of this is kind of where I come from, where my heart is. And I don't always agree with all of y'all, and that's okay because I'm in community with you, and that's where I want to be. And thanks for putting my website up. I can be reached pretty much through that. I'm in the early stages of starting a collective that will be all things disability, which is life with and without disability to advance equity. So to advance freedom, basically. And there is a disability pride survey if people are disabled or identify or have somebody in their life who is disabled that you can participate in. So all of this is great. I love what you guys are doing. It's great to see you guys getting everything put together, and it's been a privilege and an honor to be here.